What's up, Facebook and YouTube family? This is your girl, Lakeisha Mosley. I am back with another awesome interview with my soror, okay?
Yes, yes.
How connected we are. Now, y'all know again how much I love Dr. Ashley. Y'all know that anytime Dr. Ashley write a book, I'm gonna talk to the folks in the book. So, of course, this is in partnership with the HBCU Experience Movement LLC for the Southern University System Edition. Y'all know your girl started at SU. And wait, did the book drop today, sis? Go
Yes,
ahead.
it dropped today
Okay.
on Amazon.
Yes.
Amazon.com, HBCU Experience Movement.com. Purchase, purchase, purchase.
We need them to purchase. Okay, so first is let's start with you telling the people a little bit about you. And we told enough want them to go get that book.
Yes, yes. So my name is Janea Jamison. I am from, I said, the elite village of Napoleonville, Louisiana, down the bayou, Bayou Lafourche.
Yes.
And I am a 2012 graduate from Southern University A&M College, Baton Rouge, in political science, master's in public administration in 2015. I do everything as it relates to anything with women empowerment, the uplifting and the liberation of Black folks, and also policy and advocacy, civic engagement, all of those amazing things. And I'm honored to be the lead author in this book, and also excited that my mother has a chapter in this book as well, being a 1976 graduate of the Southern University. So, we're a legacy. We are a legacy.
Right.
Little always loves this when I say I am Southern University. Okay, so I am very excited to share and give some information about everything that we have going on today.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely, girl, I just got all excited all over again. Mom,
Yes, yes.
well, that is so awesome. Like, I am so glad that y'all put this anthology together. I think it's important that we talk about HBCUs. Again, I shared with you that I started at Southern University. I had to come home. I finished at a PWI, but what I've noticed, the resounding thing from any HBCU that actually has introduced me to, there has been one common theme, and that is family. That you don't just leave. So let's talk about a small town in Louisiana, just like I come from a small town. Was it HBCU always your first choice?
It most definitely was. So, like most deep South states, there's always a rivalry between the two prominent HBCUs, right? So for me, it was Grambling State University and Southern University. So my dad's family is primarily a mix of Napoleonville, Assumption Parish, Shreveport, and New Orleans. So because his Shreveport family was in North Louisiana, they mostly went to Grambling State. My mother, majority of her, all of her sisters, my aunts, everyone went to Southern University. So classic Southern University homecoming. I'm like 3 years old, my little SU cheer uniform, with the blue and gold. Bayou Classic, just ready for the halftime show and the fabulous dancing dolls. All of this has always been there for me. But I will say, that I was influenced because I went to a predominantly white Catholic school. And HBCU was always in the back of my mind, but because, I was best friends, so you want to go to the schools that your friends went to. So I still applied to LSU. I applied to Xavier University, but my heart was always Southern University. And I remember that college night for Southern University, my senior year, my senior year. My parents were very intentional. They took me the back way from campus. So that, traditionally, if you go down Scenic Highway, you can go over the hump. That's the main way. So my mom through Alson, Scotlandville, across the tracks to Southern University.
Oh, wow.
I was like, Mom, maybe I should just go to LSU. My dad was like, no.
Not
Are you getting a full scholarship to go there? I was just like, no. He was like, are you getting a full scholarship to Southern University? I was like, yes. She was like, no, Southern University is the school, my alma mater. I graduated from Southern University. She's like, this is a legacy. So this is something that you are going to continue. So it definitely clicked in my head that this is something that's much bigger than me. And I will always say that SU is something that I needed in that moment. I was in the environment of my church family. And some of those folks in my immediate family, I rarely, seldom even saw Black men and Black women in positions of leadership and professors and all of this. And this was in that moment. And so when I stepped on campus, what I saw was positions of leadership. What I saw was people in positions of power, but also a family. And so I will always say that my best friends that I met at Jaguar Preview, giving a shout out to them, Keita Hicks, Robbie Larks, Ashley Jefferson, Ashley Jackson. These were my sweet mates and some of my dear friends. These are still best friends to this day. So, again, everything SU, love everything about it.
Right. And it's funny because we talked about that last night. Me and Kimberly, we talked about, I said, I can't remember the first time going over the hump. And I was like, people that don't know SU, they're like, that's a bridge. No, that's the hump.
That is the hump.
It wasn't the bridge. You know how many times we walked over there? That's when Waffles was 99 cents.
Yeah.
So we would be over there, and it was crazy because the Burger King and McDonald's was like right next to each other.
Right next to each other. I even highlighted in my chapter, I was like, we met at the McDonald's right outside of campus because, again, it was so important to our parents as well to meet each other, make sure these are our daughters, they're going to be rooming together. Let's meet at McDonald's before we cross over the hump and bring them to Tidy Hall. And this was history.
Yes, I can recall. Oh my gosh, I only stayed on campus one semester. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. The ma'am, 8 of us in one room.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to share the bathroom if you have a husband. We talking 7 other girls.
Yeah.
No, that was not the life for me. So I was like,
it was 4 of us. It was 4. So I only had one other roommate. But it split in 2. So my other 2 friends, so it was 4 of us that shared one bathroom. But but it was exciting for me because I'm the only child. So I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, see, I need all that. Yeah. And I was in the freshman dorm for one semester. In the suite, it was 4 suites, 2 to each room, and 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be. I wasn't gonna be able to do that, but I absolutely loved my time on campus. I was there, and I had Yael laughing. I was like, I was there when the student union was just being built. They had torn down the old one, and they were rebuilding the new one. And it wasn't even completed, and we was paying student union fees. We was like, wait a minute, what is student union at? Because we don't to use it, but it was done. By the time I left, and I remember some of my most pivotal moments there, realizing who I was, understanding my Black culture. And I had her laughing too. I said, that's where I found out the O.J. Simpson verdict. We were all in the part of the student union that was completed, and we all heard the verdict, and we all were like, happy and cheering and all of that stuff. And I can remember that day there was no service. So like the students from LSU didn't come to campus that day.
Yeah.
Over there that day. And it was just, I will never forget that. I mean, it's,
that sense of unity, the sense of unity that's really embedded within our culture. And something always highlight, folks have this false narrative of an HBCU and saying that it's not realistic. There is so much diversity amongst us as Black people because when you think of Southern University Baton Rouge, it's not just students from Baton Rouge. Look at me. I'm from Napoleonville, Louisiana. No one even knew where that town was until I got to Southern, right? And then when you look at so many different cliques, it was like the Brooklyn clique. It was the Cali clique, New Orleans clique. And then what it means to be Black. When we think of African Americans, you have some people that are of Jamaican descent. And different descents who actually identify as Black Americans. So it was enriched with so much on campus.
Yes, it was a very enriching experience for me. My roommate in my suite was Haitian.
Yeah.
She had, at that time, that was when Haitians, people were making fun, but they literally were getting on boats coming to the United States. So she had family members that were, they had left Haiti and were on their way to the United States, didn't know where, didn't know when. And so it helped me kind of be very empathetic to other racial issues of people of color.
Right.
Because although she identified as Black, she was very, very proud of her Haitian culture.
Right.
And she was very concerned about the things that were going on. And I remember being a part of Southern University, we were very vocal about the injustice that was going on. And so that experience just kind of parlays in life, when you think about things. So talk to us a little bit about what your experience was on the yard, because that's what we call it.
Right. On the yard. As you talk about racial injustice and issues and being vocal and utilizing your voice, like that is my career. Like I talk for a living. I always say that. I speak for a living. So I'm in policy and advocacy and activism. I literally advocate for policies to pass them into laws that will amplify and help communities of color throughout the state of Louisiana. But this began on the yard at Southern University. So I began as Miss Freshman. That gave me an introduction into SGA and student government affairs.
Yes.
And I always will highlight that when I was on campus, this was the Bobby Jindal era, the most unfavorable government state of Louisiana, right? And so what we're fighting for were the budget cuts and different things that were trying to basically defund public institutions.
Right.
So I realized the importance of influence and utilizing my voice for change. And that's when I use that presence and that power as being Miss Freshman to make us think outside of the box. Yes, we're thinking about the initiatives and activities on campus, but if we don't rally and go to the Capitol and utilize our voice about different issues that are impacting our institution, there won't be any Southern University. So it was at campus where I began registering students to vote, making sure that I'm participating in different rallies, making sure that I'm formulating different relationships with elected officials. I became courts system supervisor in Assumption Parish underneath the mayor, and getting like an introduction into local politics and what that really meant. And so it was in that moment too that I realized, Keisha, that Southern University is a beautiful campus, but it was midst of a Black community that lacked infrastructure, and the state of Louisiana at that time had poor leadership. So how could I make a change, right? So I knew that it was really important that if I'm quiet or if I have this fear of being ostracized, that I won't be the change that I wish to be sought at that time. And so I began to connect the dots, being a political science major, really studying what policy and policy was. And then even after graduation, when I received my master's in public administration, I then began as a legislative assistant underneath Councilwoman Green. So using all of these experiences simply from Southern University and different things that came with that. And even on campus, I use those positions of leadership again to make a change and make a difference. We discussed how we're sorors. So I immediately had a connection to the community. I was over community service. I was a Southern University ambassador. So I knew that it was important to share my story to high school students at that time about the importance of attending an HBCU. So everything is just so intersectional. And I honestly do owe my all to thee, because Southern University gave me my voice.
Right. I think it's very important how you share of being Miss Freshman. So, I want people we love Different World. We love all of the college things, but it's not real. Those TV shows are real. I'm glad you said as Miss Freshman, it wasn't about me putting on a pretty gown and putting the tiara on. It was about me getting out there in the trenches with everybody else. I can recall seeing those ladies out there. They was right along with the guys when we were protesting for things, when it was something that we didn't like about that was on campus. We were, chanting or whatever. And so those roles are very pivotal, when you're in college, because it ain't about looking cute. Yeah, we want to look cute, but the people who voted you in or who are looking up to you want to know what change you're going to bring, to not only just the college campus, but outside, those rules that affect us on campus, with funding, with availability of spots in different programs, when you have to go get an internship and you keep getting told no. You keep getting sideswiped. So I really love that was an integral part of your, Southern University experience on campus. Like, it wasn't just all roses,
Right. Not at all. Not at all. But again, I wouldn't have changed anything because Southern University, it built me, it molded me.
Right.
It gave me sometimes like the hard shell that I know that I needed to stand and be a strong woman in the field that I'm in today.
Right. Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. So now we can't talk about SU without talking about the human jukebox, okay?
Right. Yeah.
You tell the folks just how fabulous.
Yes. So, often imitated, but never, ever duplicated. The best band in the land, In the land. But but I will say this, for me, the human jukebox is the heartbeat of the institution. It really is. And so, when I think about the Bayou Classic, when I think about the football games, I always share this story. Going to predominantly white school, halftime, okay, yes, I'm going to go to the stands to get my nachos and my hot dogs.
That's it.
As a Southern University HBCU student, as an attendee of the Bayou Classic and the Boombox Classic, no, I am all ears and eyes, literally waiting for the halftime show. Because, with HBCUs, in all honesty, it's not just about the athletics. It's not just about the football team. Like, no, when it's halftime, oh, okay, the band's about to play. Right. And, for me, that first time I heard the human jukebox play as a student, I can't even describe this feeling. It was just like, I'm finally a part of something. Like, I am here. Like, this is my moment and no one can take this away. And so I'm the type of person where when it's like something that clicks and it's a light bulb and it's a moment, I try to sit there and I resonate within that moment. Cause I'm like, I can experience this moment again. So I literally remember, like, my first home game, I had a striped blue and white tank top on, light to medium jeans with my Southern University pom-pom. And the first time I heard the human jukebox play Neck. And so, that's why even when we think about the promotional materials for the HBCU experience movement, I told Dr. Little, I'm like, we have to play Neck. Like, that song means so much to me because that's the first that I remember I heard that it really clicked. Like, I am listening as a Southern University student to the human jukebox play my first home game. So you can't have an HBCU moment or an experience without having that drum beat, and that drum beat, that heart of the university is the human jukebox.
Right. When I was talking to the band members from that anthology, one of the things I said is when you think about an HBCU, one of the first things that come to your mind is the band. It's on the flyers. You think about the experience of games, and you're right. Like, I don't even remember what the concession stand looked like.
Not at all.
Think I went. If anything, I sent somebody else.
You've been hungry. Didn't even want to snack.
It's like you're there, and in all honesty, like, a lot of people go. We go for the game, but we're there for the band, especially when you playing a rivalry like Grambling, or something like that. Like, it's just the pit of the bands, like back and forth. So you're right; they're a very integral part of the campus, and you cannot have an experience totally without them. Like,
you can't. You can't. And that's why I'm so appreciative of Southern University when we think about the experience, because it was the band, it was the athletics, football, basketball, tennis, soccer, baseball, all of these different sports, right? You had the fabulous dancing dolls. You have programs that are some of the top tier in the country. You have the engineering program, the nursing program, the law center, all of these great things that embody the Southern University system.
Right. You're so right about that. Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing now and how you're still connected to the university.
Definitely. So, one of my primary things is voting rights and advocacy. So I'm the program director with the Power Coalition. So we go from year to year to ensure that we increase the Black voter turnout, right? In 2019, we had talked to 1.3 million folks throughout the state of Louisiana, and 58% of Black voters actually voted in that gubernatorial race, which was on par with our white voters. We saw in the congressional runoff in 2020 that Black folks actually turned out and voted at a higher rate proportionally than white voters. So I saw the importance of connecting the students to why it's important to vote. So the organization, the Power Coalition, we partnered with SU Votes, which is an initiative from Southern University, where we meet and ensure that we're educating the students on the importance of voting, as well as I'm a member of the Southern University Alumni Federation, where I give back annually and then focus on alumni giving to Southern University.
Cool. I am like, I already happy you a soror, okay? You know, just that little pink pride in there.
Yes, but that pink and green.
Yes. The voter reform, we elected a president. Do you? I mean, yes. When I went to vote, I literally cried when I left out of there. It was just euphoric. It was just the experience of it. I saw people, my daughters and son age 20, 22, 25 years old, in line, spaced out with masks on, like, we finna vote. And I don't care what you try to do, all the things and tricks and stuff they try to do, they were determined to vote. And I would tell people, the next time somebody tell me something about my vote don't matter, I'm gonna hit them dead in their throat. Because let me tell you, your vote does matter. And you know how many years that we let awful people into office because we felt like our vote didn't matter. And this time we turned out in the droves. And I think we finally got it that it's not so much about the bigger race, which is the presidential race. We gotta go local.
Yes, it's those local races. And I always use this quote. I say that every quality of life is determined by an elected official. So when you think of the things that keeps you up at night and you can't sleep, you have to understand that an elected official is actually in control of all of these things in the environment and community in which you live in. And it doesn't stop at your vote. It's that accountability factor. You have to hold them accountable. If you're in a job and your supervisor doesn't hold you accountable to your actions, then you're going to do whatever you want to do. So you have to ensure that you actually literally put your foot at their necks and hold them accountable, because just as you place them in office, there's also ways that you can actually get them out of office as well. And that's a part of what I actually do. I make sure that people are civically engaged 365 days out of the year. And even when I think about the South and we look at some deep South states that are passing voter suppression laws, I was happy to advocate and pass laws that are actually expanding democracy, expanding voting rights, being able to pass legislation to increase early voting days to 4 additional days of early voting as related to presidential election, and being able to pass legislation to increase the amount of time that a person actually has to cast their vote at the polling booth. So, it's important that we have conversations again with people to see about the issues that they want to fix. And you need somebody like me to talk to them and make sure it's passed.
Right. You so right. I am so glad that you said that. And I am very proud of the work that you're doing in that space, because it's so needed. So as we wrap this up, I want you to tell us a little bit about your chapter. Now, don't give it all to them, because listen, we need them to go to Amazon,
go
to the website and get the book.
Yes. So, again, I am Southern University, but, on a serious note, what I talk about is also stepping out of the box. I went to Southern University with a certain perception, or being timid, being afraid in terms of different positions and different things that I wanted to do, right? But I was just afraid that I wouldn't be accepted, or I was afraid that I wouldn't be the right fit. And again, being able to step out of that box and go along in my journey. And that journey has allowed me to be the individual that I am today. So that's a little snippet. I'm just going to give you a general answer like that. So y'all can go ahead and read that chapter, and the chapter of 39 other prominent Southern University alumni throughout the country, not throughout Louisiana, throughout the country, throughout the world. We are all over. And again, Southern University is the only HBCU, or 5-system HBCU: Southern University, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Southern University Law Center, and the Agricultural Center. And we are covering alumni from various areas throughout the system. So go ahead and purchase that book. It has launched today, Amazon.com or the HBCU Experience Movement.com. Get you a copy.
Yes, I'm gonna need them to go run out and get that copy like right now. I have ordered my copy. I was not playing, especially for Southern University. So I was not playing when it came to that. But tell us what's next for you. What's on the agenda for you?
Definitely. So, I host a podcast. It's Her Story, which is an acronym for Heroic, Empowering, and Resilient. And what I do is I create a dialogue for women of color sharing their stories of adversity into triumph. Mm-hmm. And what Her Story does is it creates a network of like-minded women where we're sharing resources. We're able to share and collaborate and connect in partnership through the sharing of their stories. And I also have a store, Closet Fitness with a K, that was originated, that actually highlights, my journey of self-acceptance and loving myself in my fitness journey. And so I'm motivated going to the gym and looking at the holistic approach. And so active wear, which motivates me to go to the gym. So those are my two personal brands. I'll continue to elevate those and to be innovative as it relates to partnerships. But I also, in this, every time when someone asks me, I'm ready to go wherever God leads me, because he has opened the doors and has given me the opportunity to connect, to network, to be on national platforms. And so wherever God opens the door and leads me, that's how I got here today. When I planted the different seeds, even being a political scientist and things of that nature, I never knew that I was going to get to where I am today in changing the infrastructure of the state of Louisiana. But he continues to open doors. So I always tell folks, look out. Anything that is community motivated, anything that relates to empowerment and entrepreneurship and Black liberation, you will see Janea Jamison's name on it.
Right. I love that. I think that is so awesome. So tell everybody how they can get connected with you, because what you're doing is powerful, and we got over one hump. It ain't done. We're not done. We need to start pushing, so many different reforms in a whole bunch of different states, especially the ones that we didn't flip. That's a whole nother conversation right there.
Redistricting is our next program, is our next journey, because we have to be able to advocate in redistricting process for a fair and equitable redistricting process, because gerrymandering is another issue. And drawn maps that will hold us back from electing people who look like us and going to fight for the policies. But to stay connected, please follow me on my personal platform. It's Janea, that's JANEA _Claire, CLAIRE 13. And on this platform, you'll see all of the other things that I'm doing, the Power Coalition, Her Story podcast. If you actually will click the link, my Linktree link, it will direct you to the HBCU Experience Movement, to Closet Fitness, Her Story, Power Coalition, all the amazing things that I'm doing.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. It has been a blessing and an honor to chat with you tonight. This book is amazing. Thank you for being the lead author and visionary for such an amazing book. And I could be biased, but I mean, it is the greatest campus in the land. So many things, agriculturally, architecturally, like what I ain't gonna make the Grambling folks and all other folks.
Right. We don't want to upset them too much. We don't
want to upset them too much. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Same here.